Our Gulf Coast MakerCon 2014 coverage is proudly powered by Krayos and the all-new Krayos Meteor, your voice and gesture-controlled smartwatch. Get fit and stay fit with activity trackers, make and take calls hands-free, send and receive text messages, and you can wear it however you want. Change it up to suit your style. Best of all, it works on iPhone, Android, and Windows 8. Pre-order your Meteor now at f5live.tv/Meteor.
So not just our worlds, but you know, a lot of our regular viewers know that we're involved with the 3000 Brigade, which is our cosplay acting troupe in South Florida. And so a little bit of their world is also here today.
We're going to have him slide in closer and get real comfortable with Scott because
that'll work.
He likes that.
All right, go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
My name's Jason Rawley. I'm the owner of Fireblade Comics. I make props and customize action figures for people who do cosplay, live action role playing, just collectors.
And you've got your booth on the other side, and you were showing me some of your stuff earlier, and it's truly impressive.
Thank you.
Now there's a certain aspect of it that is what you really enjoy doing, right? What part is that?
Well, I get some requests sometimes to make replicas from the movie, but what I enjoy more is taking the creative liberties with it, with starting with a base design and then changing the aesthetic. So it still fits the movie, but, you know, creating new shapes and an overall new design. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like I take, like, the cartoon style build for the PKE meter, which I really liked. But then I added in some elements of the movie and then painted it to make it look like it belonged in the movie rather than the cartoon. So it's fun because when you take those kind of liberties with something with Ghostbusters, you can get away with a lot. Star Wars is another good example. You know, there's a lot of things you can do that will fit the Star Wars aesthetic.
Absolutely.
That lived-in, worn, used look. So.
What inspired you to start doing that? I mean, so for me, that's not something I think of, I'm going to start making slightly creative licensed props and products like that. What made you get involved in that?
I've been building props and doing scale models and action figures pretty much my whole life. I don't know what it is that really makes you want to do it, you know, as kind of your own design. It's just that you want to tweak it at first. You know, when you start designing a prop and you're building it for somebody who's doing cosplay, you have to take into account several factors. When they do it for the movie, they can make 10 different versions for different scenes, and it only has to last on screen for a few seconds. So it might have a function in one scene where it lights up, and then the next scene, you know, it breaks apart into two pieces, and things like sound can be added in post-production. When somebody comes to you and says, well, make me one like this, well, they want sound that lights, they want it to break into two pieces, and it has to survive in a convention where it's banging around on your belt or being dropped on the floor. So you run a spectrum of, you know, durability, quality, functionality. And so that's where you start taking some liberties, because then you say, well, I can make it light up, but it may not light up exactly like it did in the movie, you know, or it might light up, but it's going to have a different effect to it, you know. And sometimes people throw things out there. They say, well, I want it to be like it did in the movie, but can you change the color? And that's where you start making those little tweaks that you go, you know what, this design's really cool, but instead of, you know, having an oval shape, maybe I'll make it a box shape. Maybe I'll move the antennas down to the other side. You kind of have to have both an engineering mindset to it and an artistic mindset. So I guess somebody made the point, they said both your hemispheres are firing at the same time. That's probably true.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like about the way you do it is the fact that you just use things.
Yeah, found items, garbage. I do pull things out of the garbage. It's not a very honorable system, I guess, but as long as people don't care what you're doing, they don't mind you trespassing. But seriously, I do get a lot of junk from where I work because they're very nice. They know what I'm doing, and They want to encourage it, so I get some unique items. I won't name my place of employment, but
it's probably for the best.
I get some really cool stuff to take apart. And they see it. They may have a whole device that just because an LED or something went out on it, it's now useless because I can't tell if it's on. The LED's burnt out. They chuck that thing, and I'm going, I'm going to get all these other electronics. I'm going to get the casing. I'm going to get the gears. Yeah, it's like a wealth every time somebody throws something out.
So where did your inspiration for taking things from your life around you
Well, growing up, I always had an interest in special effects. I used to watch a lot of the behind-the-scenes features on films because I was just really drawn to that aspect of Hollywood. And I was watching a special on, the earliest I can remember anyway, was it was an anniversary show for Star Trek, and they were showing how they built the shuttles, and the landing struts on them were just disposable men's razor blades, the hilts from them. And it just kind of sparked something in my head where I said, that's amazing. I mean, you can just take stuff out of the garbage and, they're showing the model kits that they would use, like a tank and a plane and all these. And I'm like, wow, they're like mixing up all the parts. It's crazy. Who would have thought to do that? So, I don't know, at a really early age, it just kind of altered my thinking to make me look at shapes in general around me going, well, okay, that's one thing, but what if you cut it in half, flipped it on its side, added something else, then
it would be
right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm keeping things in the back of my head when I see them going, well, that's a cool, like, orange juice carton, but the cap on it is really cool, and you could cut the body in half and use that as, like the shell to something else. So it's kind of it's both a gift and a skill that you build up over time. A lot of people go, oh, I'd kill for that talent. But I go, well, I've also had a lot of practice, too. Yeah. I think if you just change your mindset and start looking at things in a different light, then you'll develop it.
Let me ask you. You've been doing this for a while now. What's the best, coolest, most interesting project to you that you've been able to sink your teeth into and said, yeah, that's my best work?
Tough one.
Boy, that's hard. Yeah. They each have their own merits. I've done projects that have been so time-consuming and so frustrating. Like I did a movie version of the PKE meter from Ghostbusters, and it was a couple different kits that people sent me. This one guy wanted it, so he bought a kit for the resin cast for the shell. He bought a kit for the lights and the sound and the servos and things. Sent me all these parts, and the problem was that somebody else had already attempted to put it together and had actually soldered the kit together backwards. So
nice.
It's hard to explain, but all the electronics that go in that little shell, it's kind of like building a ship in a bottle.
Okay.
And putting that thing together and making it work was such an accomplishment. I was just glad it was done. But when it did finally work and I turned it on and moved it, and it did everything that it did in the movie, and this was before Mattel came out with their toy version, so I was just like, wow, this is just so cool to hold it in my hands.
Yeah.
I think the other one, the big one, would have to be the Proton Pack. Because that's one of the most identifiable pieces of science fiction, at least in the last, 50 years. I mean, you could pick out some others, maybe the pulse rifle from Aliens, just things that people, as soon as they see it, they know what it is.
Know what it is.
And if you can light it up or fire it and do something with it, it just blows them away. And the pack is another one that there's just so many parts to it, and there's just so many ways to build it. And the gun itself, is kind of like that PKE meter in the sense that it's this itty-bitty little cavity, and yet it houses all these electronics, all these different switches. And anybody who's ever built one can tell you it's crazy. You're just trying to work in this teeny tiny confined space. And it's almost like putting a puzzle together upside down through a microscope, building a ship inside of a bottle. It's just all those things at once. And when you finally get this thing finished and fire it up, put it on your back, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm a Ghostbuster. It's crazy. It's like you're transported into your dreams, as a kid. And it takes you all the way back to childhood. It's just an awesome experience.
Right. Very cool.
That's pretty much how Terry described this whole event as being, I think, what did she say?
Her brain threw up.
It's just all the things that are in her head at any given time have all manifested themselves in this room today.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the throw-up part, but I'd have to agree.
Yeah. It's really a cool event.
It's fun to see all the aspects of, both the electronics, the robotics, the actual engineering, the creation, 3D printing and stuff, just being able, anything you can visualize anymore, anything that you can think up in your head, they can make. There's just really no end to it.
Yeah,
You've got
absolutely.
machines making machines. You know, I was joking with my friend. He said, I'm going to get a 3D printer. I said, yeah, when you get one, print me one. You know.
Nice.
That's like in the second Portal game, one of the spheres says the best way to make a photocopier is to photocopy a mirror. Same general idea.
Sure, makes sense.
I think it's like wishes, though. You can't wish for more wishes.
I think they have to come out at 3/4 scale is the way it works.
Oh.
Yeah, I call it bogus. I think that's just a genie rule they throw down when you first rub the lamp, you know. It's because they're just crossing their fingers going, just don't wish for more wishes.
Let me be over this. I want to go back home.
But can you wish that you're a genie? No. I guess then you'd be like customer service the rest of your life. It'd be the most horrible job.
That would be the worst retail experience ever, I suppose.
You get to hear the dark side of humanity, too. Everybody's worst wishes.
Oh, yeah, no thank you. That sounds
I
terrible.
wouldn't even want to get into that. Except for me, because I just wish to, like, have an actual real working proton pack, you know. and like, a bunch of insurance.
Oh,
so,
naturally.
you know, I just go, yeah, I'd light up the place.
Now we know.
Apparently we do.
And for my third wish, more wishes.
It tricked you.
Just not your first wish. I got it now. We're all right.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming and
Thank you very
talking
much.
to us.
Thanks, Jason.
Have a good
Appreciate
rest
it.
of the show.
Thank you.